This is my Stamblade build for Wrathstone. It's a gank build where Khajiit the cat is back. We're using Dubious Cannon Throne and the Warrior. You could use a couple different food options. I'll go over them later. And as far as Munda Stones, you could also use the Lover for a little more damage. I like the Warrior for the overall heals and damage. You could try out the Shadow, but with as much crit damage as we're stacking, I think the Warrior is better. I'm pretty sure there's diminishing returns on that crit damage stack. But what really makes this build is the skills. The sets are pretty well known. A lot of people use them. But yeah, this is what I'm using, and it's pretty unique. I really like it. Um, Fully buffed up stats. The weapon damage doesn't look too impressive. 4,300, 60% crit, 1771 stam recovery, really nice for a ganker. 36,000 stam, 12,000 magicka, 25,000 health. That is with the imp buff though. Resistances aren't important. We are a gank build. We do have pretty good crit resist though. Try to keep us from getting bursted while we're getting in and out. Let's see. We'll get into gear. Sorry, I did record this and didn't realize my audio was off, so I'm kind of recording the audio over it. Double precise Spriggan's daggers. You could probably get a little more damage out of mauls here. We're using physical damage, the absorbed stamina. Now you would probably want this on your back bar, but I haven't quite optimized it. Double precise daggers though, we're going to theme, really high crit. It's very important. Like I said, you might get more out of maces, or your tooltips will look better with swords, but I really need the crit for this build because it's a heavy crit damage build and we're trying to one-shot everything. Like I said, normally you would probably put a poison damage on that dagger with the absorbed stam, put the absorbed stam glyph on this bar. Infused axe, you use axe, maul, sword, it doesn't matter, they all give you the same heals regardless of the misconception. I already had this golded out, so this is what I'm using. You could go defending here too, but that's your preference on the trade on the back bar. Spriggan's gives you the max stam, weapon damage, and penetration, which is really important since we're not running maces, we're running daggers. We don't quite have the highest weapon damage, but this is probably the hardest hitting burst combo I've ever put together. It's extremely strong, and we'll get into the combo. We're using Veladreth. Now you can use Bloodspawn here if you want a little more sustain. Usually they're dead before my Veladreth procs anyway, so Bloodspawn is a really good option. Balorgs, you know, any monster set. Troll King would be really nice here too. But I'm just using the Veladreth for the little extra proc damage and the nice one-piece weapon damage to help boost our weapon damage. Hulking Draugr, we're using Hulking Draugr gives us an insane amount of max stamina. We're using all Impin, one well fitted. We're using 2 triglyphs to help get our magicka pool up to that 12k marker. But our jewelry is all weapon damage, all infused. We still have 36,000 stamina even with infused jewelry. It is nice with that Spriggan's Hulking's combo. A lot of people use it with the 2H and Master's bow. Yeah, you can use that, but this is a high crit build and you need the dual wield for that, and you don't need the Master's bow. You don't need to have so much damage with this anyways. Let's see. We'll get into skills. Killer's Blade, this is going to be your flex buy. You could run Evil Hunter here. You could run Fear, but I'm using Essence of Weapon Crit Pots. Gives you the major savagery, max health, health recovery, stamina recovery. They're really nice. But like I said, if you don't want to use these, maybe you want to use tri-stats, which I do use tri-stats when I get in a sticky situation right here. I need a cloak, use my shade a little more, I will swap over to these real fast and pop one of these. Boom, back to full magicka. Really nice. The Evil Hunter, what's nice about it too, it also gives you the weapon damage passive from the Fighters Guild. You use double take for a little more tankiness, mobility. Piercing Mark, I like. I'll get into that later. But for me, I use Killer's Blade right there. Let's see, Leeching Strikes. We got a lot of, we actually have a lot of healing on this build as long as we stay aggressive. But the Leeching Strikes is going to help you with your Stam Sustain, give you heals on your light and heavy attacks. Pretty self-explanatory skill right here. A lot of Nightblades use it. We're not using a Gap Closer. You could use your Gap Closer instead of Killer's Blade too, I suppose. But yeah, the Crushing Weapon, it heals you for 30% of the damage done. We'll get into that. This is Relentless Focus. Everyone knows it. It's gives you your Minor Berserk for 8% more damage and 10% more stamina recovery. So that's really nice. You're going to kill everything before you proc this. This is not a normal Stamblade build. But if you do get the proc, you know, you just hit your light attack Crushing Weapon and go into the Relentless Focus. And that'll pretty much kill everything too. The Crushing Weapon, it has a good tooltip on it. And it heals you for 30% of the damage you do. So, about a 11,000 tooltip on it. And, yes, between Leeching Strikes and that, you're getting decent heals. Your Surprise Attack, everyone knows it. So your combo is going to be a Channeled Focus into your Crushing Weapon. You do a Light Attack, End Cap, into a Surprise Attack. But the Psijic skills are really what make this build. End Cap, everyone knows it. End Cap is going to give you the 20% more damage done to the player you hit, which is going to buff up your almost 12k on the Surprise Attack. You can get a lot higher tooltips than this using the Master's Bow, the 2H, other sets, but it's a very high crit build, and like I said, I don't think I've made a Nightblade build that has a better burst combo than this one. Just you straight up one-shot everything. So you hit them with the Crushing Weapon into a end cap, into a Surprise Attack, you're going to drop everything. Heavy armor, sword and board, Templars standing in your room, you can drop those guys. The Surprise Attack gives you the Major Fracture. The end cap, we do get the Major Defile, which is going to help a lot against those heavy armor Templars I was talking about, because you want to keep them in execute range. A lot of times, if they do survive the burst combo, they will try to heal instead of purging first, when really as a Templar, you should block, purge, and then heal if you get hit with a combo like this. But we have a lot into Defile to bring that up from the 30% to 70 or 37% on the health, on the healing reduction, the Major Defile. So that's extremely strong. Like I said, bear with me. I didn't want to record another half an hour just for the commentary, so I'm recording over this because I did have my mic muted. Bigger, your bread and butter stamina bread and butter stamina heal. Shadowy Disguise. It's gonna give you that guaranteed crit on your light attack Crushing Weapon, even as if we didn't have enough crit chance. 62%, insane. Rally, your Major Brutality heal over time. Channeled Acceleration. This is huge. It gives you 10% more crit damage for 36 seconds and 9 seconds of Major Expedition. It's extremely strong, and it's a big part of our damage here. Stacks well with the Khajiit passive. Shadow Image. Now, I prefer Shadow Image. I really like Piercing Mark because if you do end up getting exposed, now I won't use Piercing Mark for my initial burst combo because that just gives you away. But if you end up getting exposed and fighting outnumbered, you can stay aggressive with that heal from the Leeching Strikes, the crushing weapon, you put the piercing mark on the softest target that you're going after, or well, any target you're going after, and you kill him real fast. The heal from the crushing weapon and the piercing mark will keep you in the game without having to spam a lot of resources from your stamina using vigor. I use the soul siphon more purely for the passives and the siphoning. That gives you more magic for having a siphoning ability slotted. That's why I have one on each bar always. I don't like discrepancies in my max pools. You're going to want all your passives from the weapons you're using, your dual wield, even though we're not using dual wield weapons. We're using 7 pieces of light armor, no heavy, medium armor, no heavy, no light, because we do want to pump up our weapon damage as much as we can from that passive, from the medium armor that gives us more weapon damage. We are a stage 4 vampire. We get the stamina magic recovery right here, which stacks really nice with Khajiit's getting both stam and mag recovery now. We get the undeath passive, which is going to help you reset to your shade and cloak whenever you're getting pressured hard. Once you drop under that 50%, you know, you don't have to worry quite too much about getting bursted really hard because you have a decent amount of max health and you're taking less damage while you're under that threshold. So it gives you a chance to actually hit your shade, cloak, hit your rally, and get out. This is the big kicker though. You get the movement speed penalty ignored while you're stealth. Nothing from Mage's Guild, I just have that because this is also my bomber character. You're going to want all your Psijic passives, but the Khajiit, like I was talking about here, you get the health recovery, not important because we're a vampire, but you get the 85 stamina magica recovery. It's a really nice balance for a gank blade, where you're running lower stam sustain and you need that magica to kind of balance out. You get the 825 max health, max magica, and stamina. Now this isn't as much as say Orc, which gets 2000, or other stamina races like Wood Elf, but I like having the extra magica pool. Let's see. How long did I go talking about this while I was recording? Next passive, yes. The big kicker, the one I love about the Khajiit, you get increased critical damage and critical healing by 10%. This helps you to not have to stack into healing too terribly much because your vigor ticks are really strong when they crit, and the crit damage just stacks so nice with the way we have our CP and using channeled focus. Alchemy, you do want to get this all the way up. I've had this character forever, but I've been lazy, so I don't know. You want it all the way up for the medicinal use. I just have 12 characters, and I haven't gotten around to it. I said, missing anything here? Oh, yeah, the Psijic skills. This passive is really nice, reduces the cost of your Psijic skills by 15%, and that channeled acceleration does cost magica, so it is good to have this so that you're not straining your magica resources too much, since we are using 3 magica skills, and you could balance out and use 4 if you wanted to use Fear instead of Killer's Blade or Mark Target. You have enough magica sustain, you just have to get used to it. Not sure what I was talking about here. Yeah, the channel acceleration and costing less magica. This you're not really going to see very often. If it hits, it hits. It just gives you a little more burst whenever you're using 5 Psijic skills within whatever amount of time. This is the big one you want here, because when you're hitting that channel acceleration, or even when you're hitting your crushing weapon, you're getting 30% damage reduction, major protection, during the duration of that channel. This counts with Crushing Weapon too, even though it doesn't have a channel time. While you're doing that animation on Crushing Weapon, you still get that major protection. Coffee. Instead of Soul Siphon, you could use the Psijic Ultimate Undo also. I just don't have it unlocked. It's really nice. You're going to lose the magic on the back bar, though. I don't like that. But it's an extremely good skill because you will get some of that magicka back if you use it properly anyways, and it'll get you out of tricky situations. You could shade. If they chase you to their shade, or your shade, pull you out of cloak again, you can hit that undo and kite them around so well with the Psijic Ultimate. Let's see. Man, it really sucks that I have my mic muted. I'm sorry, guys, but we'll get into some other things, some foods you can use. The other foods that I use for group play or whenever I just want to go full glass cannon. Now, Jewels of Misrule is extremely nice. You can use this all the time actually, and you'll still get your combos off. You might have a little harder time with the super tanky guys. You do lose 4,000 magicka, but look at what it does to that magic or 4,000 stamina. It brings you to 32,000 stamina, but you still hit like a truck, and you get 1220 magic recovery, about the same stamina recovery, but you're able to balance between those with your shade and your cloak and your roll dodges a lot better that way. I use it in groups of maybe 4 to 6 if I'm in a group about that size or more. It's really nice to help keep you alive and keep you in the game for your team members. Dubious is going to be your most well-rounded. Now, if you want to go full glass cannon, Lava Footstool is excellent. Excellent. It's going to take you up to almost 38,000 max stam, and it's going to bring your max health down to, without the imp buff, 19,000. But, hey, it's fun to live on the wild side sometimes, and you get that 1721. Actually, it goes up higher with Relentless Focus, but your stam recovery is a lot better as a ganker. Let's see. Yeah, it goes up to 1826 with the Relentless proc for the minor endurance buff, which is really nice. Between that and Leeching Strikes and the amount of damage you have, you don't need any more sustain than that. But Dubious is definitely your most well-rounded option here. You could use the Artaeum Takeaway Broth, but I just think it's wasted. And you get a few hundred more max stats and some health recovery, but you're a vampire. I mean, if it's worth it to you just to get that extra tiny bit of max stat, go for it, but you're just ganking here. Anyway, CP, 56 into Warlord. Nothing in the Siphoner. I usually have at least 1 point into there, but we're killing people so fast, and the way we have our CP set up is pretty optimal. You don't need... They're not going to be able to purge anyways. They're going to be dead. Alright? They're just going to be fucking dead. Usually I put 1 point into here, but no, not this time. 43 into Tenacity. We're not doing a whole lot of heavy attacks, but it's nice. We got 34 into Arcanist. Boost up that Magicka recovery. It's pretty good. We're close to 800, like I said. Close to 800 on a Stam character. 1200 with the Jewels of Misrule. Mooncalf, 43. So we got a pretty even spread here. Okay, so 28 into Befouled. Very important for that Defile, because that's what's gonna... Those few really, really tanky Templars staying in the rune. Like I said, they're gonna panic and try to heal right away, and you're going to keep them in execute range for that one-shot killer's blade with that Defile. It's very nice. 66 into Tumbling. I always go 66 into Tumbling on my medium armor stam characters. Just really like it. Usually I run 2 well fitted with it, but I'm not worried about it. But yeah, 66 into Tumbling. 28 into Befouled there. Nothing into Blessed. Nothing. 81 into Masters at Arms. A lot of people might go 1 or 2% lower. Don't. 81 into Masters at Arms. 24% direct damage. Everything you're hitting them with is direct damage. And the harder your base damage is, the harder your crits are going to hit. 66 into Precise Strikes for 22%. I wouldn't go higher, because I think there's diminishing returns on crit damage, but I'm not 100% sure on that. That's why I'm not running the Shadow, and the Warrior seemed like more damage to me anyways when I tested it. 59 into piercing. Nothing in the thaumaturge. We have no dots, but that's really important. You want physical penetration. It is the best source of damage. So we're getting as much out of our Spriggans in this as we can. You're never going to get as much as a mag character can, but hey, that's just the way the game is. But, yeah, 59 here. We have 64 into Mighty. I wouldn't pump that any higher. It doesn't scale as well. I think this is about the best damage you can get through your CP for this playstyle. Yeah, maybe I should have just gone ahead and re-recorded this, but too late now, guys. It's only a couple more minutes. And I will have gameplay and demonstrations of the combos right after this, so bear with me. And I'll have a link into the description of a, I believe it's a little 4-minute montage I did of a lot of ganks, which is really nice. So check out the description and check out that video if you want to see a lot more gameplay of this build, but I don't want to make this too terribly long. What's going on here? What am I talking about for so long? But yeah, like I said, here we are. 64 into Mighty. Oh, I was talking about the piercing mark and everything right there. I remember now. But I already went over that earlier. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Anyways, 61 into Ironclad, 21% reduction to direct damage attacks. It's gonna be really nice for you. 52 into the crit resistance. You could drop one impim piece and put another well fitted if you felt like it. Let's see. 44 into thick skin. Now this is really important, as I know you can cloak away dots, but a lot of the times what's pulling you out of stealth are Templars. Stamblars, Magplars with their puncturing sweeps and their biting jabs. Those actually are scaled off of thaumaturge and stuff like that. They do count as dots, and so thick-skinned really gives you a lot of damage mitigation against those. 49 into Hardy, 49 into Elemental Defender, and 15 into Quick Recovery. This is going to help you out a lot. So, let's see. Am I missing anything here? No. Alright guys, well that's the build. We're going to go into some clips next, and I'll explain a little bit of what I'm doing with the combos. Okay, so here we're using the Jewels of Miserable just to prove you do have enough damage. You buff up with the Channeled Focus, Relentless, and or Channel Acceleration, Relentless, and the Crushing Weapon, like right here. You want to use the Crushing Weapon first because it is going to hit at about the same time as the end cap. The surprise attack has a global cooldown that is going to give you another extra second between your end cap and that. That's why we're using that last clip. We were using the Lava Footstool. This one is a Heavy Armor Templar on his Sword and Shield bar, and we're using the Dubious right here. But the same thing, the Channel Focus and whatnot. Hope you enjoyed. Have fun with the build, guys.